Thank you, Patrick, for the possibility to make this presentation. One thing which is new for me is to present it 100% in English speech. So I ask for your help if I know some words or not know some words, but I think it will be interesting. Yeah, I speak about ergonomic in forging, especially tools. Yeah, the contents of my presentation will be for at first who I am. I will shortly speak about my life. Where do I work? And then we will, to the core of the presentation, come about ergonomics. What is it? What areas of ergonomics are necessary, are important in blacksmithing or in a blacksmithing workshop? And especially one of my favorite works, one of my I love to forge blacksmithing hammers. I made about 200, 300 hammers in the last few years, and I thought many things about ergonomics in blacksmithing hammers, and I will talk about this in the next 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe. Let's see. Okay, who I am. My name is Christoph Küllinger. I was born in 1977 in Austria, in Steyr eigentlich, also in Upper Austria. It's about 20 kilometers from my living town. I graduated in 1995. In Austria, we say Gymnasium. From 1995 to 1999, I made training, but a school at the HTL Steyr. It's a technical school for arts and crafts, and we made the department of blacksmiths and metal sculpture. From 1999 to 2000, I made a further training to become a state-certified farrier. And since the year 2003, I work independently as artist, blacksmith, and farrier in self-employed. Since the March 2008, I work also as a teacher at the HTL Steyr for art and design. It's the school where I made the training in the years before. Okay, let me give a short cut about our school, the Höhere Technische Bundeslehranstalt, how we talk in Austria, is a school, a technical school. The training is divided in 3 areas. We build jewelry, engraving technology, and art forging and metal sculpture. And it provides 2 qualified design and craft training, which enables immediate career entry. The students can work as jewelers, as an engraver, or at metal sculptor, at blacksmiths after our school. We have a training which focuses providing to qualified design and craft trainings. This means they have the opportunity to enter the professional world straight away after school. A sufficient number of hours in the business areas leads to the passing to entrepreneur examination, and this makes it easier to set up in a company. We had actually this summer one entrepreneurship at Patrick's workshop in Finland. Maybe he can talk later some words about this. The final maturity and diploma examination entitles to study also at technical colleges, at universities, or they go with their own companies straight on to work. Let us come to ergonomics, the main part of my presentation. What is ergonomics? Ergonomics is the science of designing human working and environmental conditions. In this way, the workload is reduced, the fatigue and the accidents are prevented, and productivity is increased better. We have three parts or three things. The physical stress, which is with the hard work in a blacksmithing workshop. Then the environmental variables such the climate, the temperature, the radiation, the light, color, noise, vibrations, and so on. And the psychological stress will also play a role in these parts. The physical stress, there is a mean point, and the workplace design, in addition to optimizing the workflows, the increase efficiency, and the goal is to avoid posture and movement damage, because we all want to do this work until the old age and in the best case scenario. And when you look at younger age to this points, you can do it longer. What is necessary in case of workplace design? You should arrange the machines and the tools correctly. The arrangement of the machines and the tools should, in the best case, follow the order of the work steps of the yeah, you should avoid long distances between the work steps, and this would be better. You can save a lot of energy, especially when working at the forge, when the anvil is not 300 meters far away from the fire, for example. Also is necessary, you have to choose the right working height of your anvil, because and of your working desks, perhaps. I made the picture of the right working height, what the anvil should have. When you stand straight between your anvil, you should leave your hand on the upside of the anvil, and then it is the right height of the anvil. The height of the anvil and the height of the other working desks are the same way. Also, it will be with the height of your machine hammers, for example. Many machine hammers, power hammers or other things, are in the history very low from the height, and it's very good when you set them up with your fundamental, that you can stay higher to the machine hammers. Now perhaps I told you the blacksmithing hammers. The blacksmithing hammer is one of the most important tool in a forge. The forging hammers are available in different sizes with a weight from 0.5 to 2 kilos. Over 2 kilos, we talk about sledging hammers in a different way. What is necessary a blacksmithing hammer. I have made a picture of two hammers. On the right side, you see a locksmithing hammer, classical Austrian locksmithing hammer. In the left, you see a blacksmithing hammer. And comparing to the locksmithing hammer, a blacksmithing hammer is much shorter from the pin to the face, and the weight of the hammer is kept in the center of the hammer as much as possible. Also, the face of the hammer should be smooth, shiny, and slightly curved, which locksmithing hammers are more not so slightly curved. Also, the length of the hammer handle is very important. The right length of the hammer handle is approximately corresponding to the length of the forearm of each person. I tried to picture this up. Then you can use the hammer very ergonomic. If it's too long, you can show that the people will take the hammer handle much more in the front and in this area, and that's not ergonomic. Also necessary is a balanced weight distribution from the hammer. The inner circle of this, or the middle point of this circle, will be the point where you take your hands at the hammer handle, and when you show at the circle, the middle of the pin and the middle of the face should be on this line from the circle. Then the hammer is balanced, very good balanced from the weight. And if I go back to this photo, these two hammers have the same weight, but the blacksmithing hammer is much more shorter than the locksmithing hammer. And when you take the locksmithing hammer and lay it on this circle, the pin will show at much more out of the circle, and so it is not very well balanced. Yeah, a bit of different shapes of blacksmithing hammers. There are many different shapes. I just took some out which I make, and yeah, it's the crosspin hammer, the classical blacksmithing hammer. In Austria we say the normale Schmiedehammer, because the pin is turned 90 degrees to the hammer, and yeah, the straight pin hammer is the opposite of this. The pin is in direction of the handle, and in English or in America they say the straight pin hammer because they describe the way of the working from the handle. The pin, I don't know the English word for treiben, Patrick.
Well,
The
I would
pin,
say it's forging or well, yeah,
The
let's
forging
just call it
direction
forging.
is 90 degrees to the other side than the cross pin hammer. Okay.
exactly. And the
Yeah.
pin is in length. The pin is in length of the handle.
It's in length of the handle, and the Austrian the cross pin hammer, there's the pin 90 degrees located to the handle.
Yep.
Yeah. Then a different shape, the rounding hammer is very famous at fairs or for fairs. He has a face, a normal face like a cross pin or a straight pin hammer, and on the other side they have a rounded face to forge the insides of the horseshoes, perhaps, and so you can work. These hammers are very, and they are very famous from fairs but also other people. There are different shapes. If you the right photo or the left on the opposite upside, they have the same faces but different shapes. Then we have mixtures, a rounding hammer with a pin on one side, or a cross pin hammer with the upset for the weight. And yeah, it's many different shapes possible. One especially is the dog's head hammer, or many people also say the Japanese hammer. In the Japanese swordsmiths, they use these hammers very often. In the downsizing, these hammers have very much energy to downsizing, but you have to lift the hammer up, and then in the uplifting, this energy is not good, from my opinion. This is not well distributed from the weight, but many people love to work with these hammers because you can blacksmith very heavy stuff with these hammers, but it's strange. Yeah. The sledgehammers, I said, are hammers about 2 or 3 kilos to 8 kilos, and they used with 2 hands for forging larger cross sections and for hitting auxiliary tools, splitting punches, flatteners, rifts, and so on and so on. At this picture, these are 2 students of mine, or ex-students of mine. You see the right handling from the sledgehammer. Many people take them wrong. And it's also necessary, what you can see in this picture, that you don't stand face to face with the sledgehammer, because it can be very dangerous. Yeah. At the end, some kinds of safety. In any case, the tight fit of the hammer must be checked before you use them. Also, blacksmithing hammers should not be too hard to avoid chipping. My hammers are about 48 to 55 HRC hardness, and it's also enough for working with hot metal. And the knocker with the sledgehammer should never be face to face. I said one picture before. Yeah, thank you for the attention. I think this was a small extent, and I hope you understood the most things I said.
Thank you too, Christoph. This has been a great presentation. Questions?
Oh yes, about the weight of the hammer.
Yeah.
In the school where I teach, the max that we use 2 kilos, but it's just for cutting and punching.
Yeah.
And forging down, maximum 1250 grams. I think it's enough because you have a smaller hammer, you can work longer, and you have also a good swing at it. You can put more in the swing.
You're absolutely right. Until 2 years ago, I worked only with 1,250 grams.
Yes.
And I thought it is enough, and it is enough, especially for learning. When you start to blacksmithing, the muscles and are not avoided to them.
Yeah,
So,
we are not used to it.
And you damage your body when you use a too large hammer, yeah. But I think it is a very special theme. Perhaps I made 200 to 300 hammers the last 3 years, and my clients said everything. The one will have 800 grams because it's too heavy or whatever. And then I talked to Alfred Bullemann, perhaps, and he said to me, "Oh, make me a small hammer about 2.8 kilos." And I said, "What? 2.8 kilos?" And for Alfred, it is small. It's personal, very different, yeah.
Yeah, that is.
And
personal.
every guy should check it out. What weight is for you good to work? What weight can you long work with it? I say to my students always, if you have the feeling that the hammer is too heavy, go back.
Yes, it's true.
200 grams less weight, and then try. And so you come to, each people will come to his own perfect weight.
And
I don't think it's the perfect weight for everybody.
No. And sometimes I see of my students, they hit the metal, and I see a lot of it's not smooth. It's like, and then I give a slightly heavier hammer.
Yeah.
Then it goes flat.
Yeah.
Because it falls down better. They cannot.
Yeah.
When they swing it, they cannot hit wrong anymore.
Yeah. And also, I think it's if you have a hammer which is less weight, you can the frequency is faster. You can smith faster or work faster, and you come to the same goal at the end.
That is true. At the same result. The same result, because
Yes,
also
the same result.
The face of the hammer is smaller. So when you have a big hammer, it's like 5 to 5 centimeters. So, but that is 2 kilos, I think. I use it, but I'm already downsizing it because also I'm getting a little bit older, and then I like a few grams less.
Riveting for example, I use for riveting every times a small hammer, because even you have a rivet with 8 or 10 millimeters, I use a small hammer because because you have much more feeling for
Yes.
the rivet going in each side, and you can react, and
Yes,
it's
that
better
is-
than you have a 3 kilo hammer
Well,
and
then
one.
when you hit it with a heavy hammer, then it goes one way or another, and you see it
Yeah.
too late that it's wrong.
Yeah,
And then
it's not good in.
no, that is not good.
Yeah.
But it's a big discussion, and because I see Louis there, from the Belgian Association, and it has to see. Yesterday, I was working on an article and it goes about the hammer. So it's very still. I have to look into it, change a few things, but it's the same result. There is no ideal hammer because
Less is often more.
that is true. Yes.
Yeah.
Like the Japanese hammer, I know it's very bad for the wrist.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we are standing on the anvil, and they are sitting in Japan. They sit down in a.
Yeah.
They sit down, and it's
Yeah.
another way of working, and so they have. Yeah, it's but if you work with that all day, then your wrist is going to hell.
yeah.
It's something like that. I have
But
to say-
people love them.
yes,
People love the
it's
Japanese
for the
hammers.
bladesmiths. The bladesmiths want them.
Yeah,
Knife making, and because you don't have to hit so much metal, 3-4 millimeters, and just adjusting it, but to work with it all day.
also a thing I don't understand, the farriers, especially in America, love hammer handles with 450 to 500 millimeters.
Oh yeah,
And then they say, and I say, hey, I only have 380 millimeters. I only want 450 to 500. And then I say, make a photograph where you take the handle with your hand. And then they send the photograph, and they take the hammer, and behind the hand there are 100 to 150 meters handle left. It's
but it's better a little bit too long as too short, but that is
yeah,
very strange.
that's true.
Yo,
But
Oh,
okay,
that's like quite a deep philosophical question.
We
I
can
would
go-
say.
oh
even
yeah.
somewhat.
it can go
But,
on very long, Patrick.
Yeah, yeah. Do we have other questions?
About the handle.
Was my presentation so clear that you have no questions?
Well, maybe it was. I would also have another question, but Philip, you can ask yours first if you want.
About the wood for the handles.
Yeah.
Which wood do you prefer, or don't you have
In Austria we use ash,
ash? Yes.
and some hickory, but yeah.
It's the same here, but before in Belgium we had cornouille.
Pardon?
Cornouille. It's a cornus mas. It was the best, but it was very rare, and it's smooth like a baby skin.
Okay.
And, yes, it's very good, but it's because it grows very slowly. It's difficult to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And before it was on the handle, cornouille incassabile. It means unbreakable.
Okay.
That was on the handle before.
Yeah. Some kind of handles we use in Austria, which I don't know in other countries, but for auxiliary hammers, we use hazelnut for splitters and flatten hammers.
Yes, with us, it's the same.
But we don't shape them. It's how the handle is growing up from the.
Yes, I have them here in my in my shop also. Hazelnut. It's
Hazelnut.
straight. You let it dry and can use them like
and
this.
Very, very elastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had a question.
Maybe for the meantime, I would have a couple of questions which I noted, and the first would be, do you know if there's a reason why machine hammers have in the past been set so low, or especially in schools, I find they're usually very low. Is there a reason for that?
In the past, I think it was a technical question because they Yep, they sit very much by working,
Mhm.
and I think it was technical reasons, but no. Perhaps has anyone other thoughts to this?
I mean, like with water hammers and so on, it's how the structure is built. It's more difficult to set the whole thing up like a meter higher.
They had for the fundamental large stems from a tree, which they digged into the earth, and perhaps if you let the steam look out of the earth, it will dry, it will work. Wood is working when it is confronted with the air, the water, and so on. Perhaps this was a reason. If the whole steam was in the wood, it had a consequent shape, and so perhaps this was a reason for this. Now we make our fundamentals of beton or other things, and they are not so wie sagt man?
They're not so much affected by the surrounding.
Empfindlich, genau, affected by the surrounding, yeah.
No.
Maybe that's the reason.
Well, thank you. Makes perfect sense.
I also have a short question.
Yeah.
Which steel do you use to make your hammers?
C45, 1045. It's.
Don't you think C45 is too soft? I always have a problem. I don't get it hard enough.
It's. I made the decision. There are 2 or 3 different shapes of C45. You can get a C45, and in Austria we can get a C45U. We can get a C45E, and they have different numbers, different material numbers. And with the C45, without any letter in the back, I had also problems in the beginning to get them hard. And then I looked to get the C45U or C45E. It's in Austria we say it is the one is a quality steel and the other is Edelstahl. So it's the shapes are lower. And with the C45U, I have no problems. I said I hardened my hammer about 48 to 55 HRC.
That's enough.
I don't think a blacksmithing hammer has to have 58 or 60 HRC because it's not necessary.
Yes, and when I use a hammer for a chisel,
yeah,
very tough steel, I always use the same hammer because
for chiseling, for chisels there are better steels. There are a C60 or C75, but for a blacksmithing hammer with a big Querschnitt. Patrick, Entschuldigung.
Oh, yeah. With a big cross section.
A big cross section, thank you. When you have a big cross section, it's enough when you have C45. When you have axes and such things or splitting chisels, it's better you take a C60.
I have a question on the handles. If you have advice on the circumference, how big not how long the handle must be, but
Yeah,
in diameter,
square.
because I have quite small hands. Should it
Yeah.
be smaller, or doesn't that matter? Or is it
Yeah,
better for your hands?
it's a
Or
very personal thing. Some guys like it. It's corresponding to your hands. Sure. If you have smaller hands, you can work better with a small handle in the square. Yeah. And some blacksmiths are guys with 2.20 meters and hands like a foot. They need a bigger square at the handle. So I think you can't make a general decision how big the hammer should be. Also, for the hammer eye, it gives a DIN norm, as an industrial normative thing size, but it's very personal information, I think. You have to look what feels comfortable for you, and this is the right square for you, the right
circumference.
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Cool.
I have also a small question. Of course, you studied lots of hammers.
Yeah.
What do you think about this Hofi hammer?
The Hofi hammer. The
Yes.
Hofi hammer is one of a row very good hammers. In every of these guys follow the same structure. If I show now shortly this picture I'm looking for, yeah. At the inner point of your circle, you have your hand, and the middle of the face and the middle of the pin should be in this circle. And that's that's, I think, is the mean. Hofi made this very good. Habermann perhaps is a little shorter than the Hofi hammer. It's when the hammer at the face will be too short, you are afraid to knock your fingers at the anvil when you're blacksmith. My personal opinion is that Hofi is also very short at the face. A bit longer is good, but
you mean the handle? You mean the handle is a bit short?
No, the hammer itself.
Oh, the handle is very short at the Hofi hammer. Yeah,
Yes.
The handles are very short at the Habermann hammer. The Markus Balbach made hammers. They are similar to them. There are various hammers, and the difference between these hammers are millimeters. And so I think in general, it's like the square of the handle. You have to take the hammer in the hand, and you have to feel good with the hammer.
Yeah, sure.
And
I'm
1 millimeter, 2 millimeter longer at one point, it's not the point of a good hammer.
I agree with you with the Hofi hammer. When you use it and you have very small stock, very thin, then you almost with your knuckles, with the hand on the
with your fingers.
It's too short. It should be half.
It's a little too short, yeah.
Yes, and then you have the intention to go with the handle outside the anvil, and then you don't hit the metal good.
Yeah. And my personal experience, with the Hofi hammers, I had 10 Hofi hammers in school, and about 5 of them had cracks about hardening faults. And so not every Hofi hammer is made by Hofi himself, was made by Hofi himself. You should not speak about people who died, but this was my personal experience. They were made not very quality, very high quality.
We had him one time in school, Uri Hoffi, and
Yeah.
but then he gives his explanation why the hammer is like that, and he holds it very differently. The holding of his hammer, and he demonstrates it. He holding it with 2 fingers and his thumb, and
Yeah.
it's very high. So your knuckles are not under the handle; they are on the side. And he gives a big explanation about. I gave a big explanation about it, and when you use it like that, then it's not a problem. But it's strange.
Yeah.
I think it's strange.
No,
Yeah.
I think Hofi had good thoughts about tooling, and
Certainly.
he made cool things, but it's not all the best. And also Habermann in Österreich, in Austria, we say die alle kochen mit Wasser. I don't
Well,
know.
everyone boils
you-
with water.
Yeah. So it's a very personal experience, and so I think it's important that every one of us who make blacksmithing make his own experience and try every hammer you can get, and yeah, you will find your perfect hammer. Thanks for the attention.
Yes, thank you for the time.
If you yourself are interested in blacksmithing and you have something which you know you're very good at or you want to become good at, you can approach us like Paul or me or Mariano, who is not present today, at the Blacksmith Without Borders email address and say, hey, I also would like to have present about some topic, and then we see that we make it happen.